And that was, I believe the date was 2015.
I don't know how I missed that, but awesome.
I was researching. I do that from time to time, just a little bit.
Awesome.
Not too much.
If I research too much, I start to get a headache, and then I have to go lay down and go to sleep.
So, the case has been featured in a few places. In a May 1996 issue of Red Book, there was an essay by one of Green's friends and her impression of the case, who ended with the idea that the Green who committed these crimes was not the Green that she knew. That she had been Green's friend, and the Green she knew would never have done anything that would have led to the harming of her children.
Mm-hmm.
Also, crime author Ann Rule wrote the book Bitter Harvest, A Woman's Fury, A Mother's Sacrifice, which provided extensive detail on both the case and Green herself, and it was a New York Times bestseller. It's also where I got most of the information that I have for this show. Green's crime were also featured on an October 1999 episode of Forensic Files entitled Ultimate Betrayal, and the show Deadly Women in 2010 about women who kill their children. The case is also the basis of a 2020 stage adaptation of Euripides' Medea, a Greek myth and play about a goddess famed for killing, and in some cases, devouring her own children.
Fun.
Ugh. Cannibalism.
So, all that said, my own theory of the case, I don't know this is true, but my own theory of the case is this. And it's based a little on the writings of Ann Rule and a little bit on just the way I felt about certain things. I think she set fire to the home in order to get back together with her husband. Because the last fire, and I think that's what convinced her to do it, is the fire in their old place brought them all back together. And I think she thought that if she set the house on fire, they would all be back together again. And I think she desperately wanted to be back with her husband. If only because him leaving her for another woman made her feel like a failure. And with her anger issue, she couldn't accept that. I don't think she meant to hurt her kids.
Yeah,
I think that was but that, to my mind, is part of the drinking. Because people who have drinking issues do what a friend of mine calls stinking thinking. Or I prefer to call drinking thinking, where they make these really bad decisions based on whatever thoughts are winging their way through their head at that time. And because they spend so much time in an altered state of consciousness, the thoughts that they have bear no necessary relationship to reality itself.
Right.
Right, so what you're saying right now is that you think that, she did this because she was thinking, at the time she was thinking it was a good idea because she wanted to bring her family back together, but she was drunk, so she didn't really process it fully.
Right, and the only problem I have with that theory, though, is if her son actually called her, why did she tell him to stay in the home, as opposed to do what his sister did, crawl out on the roof of the garage and jump down? He was older. If she did it with no ill effects, why couldn't she? Or why couldn't he?
I mean, I'm not necessarily sure.
So, that's the only part that stands out for me is I don't know. But overall, I think that she made just one very bad decision, and she's going to be paying for that very bad decision for the rest of her life. And I can't say that she doesn't deserve what's happening to her, because I think she does, because, even if she didn't mean it, 2 people are dead. And I'm sorry, doesn't cover dead people.
No, it doesn't.
But I think that I don't think that it was in her head to kill her children. I think it was just the earlier fire. I'm willing to bet she remembered it and went, we wound up back together after that fire. We'll wind up together if the house burns down. But at the same time, now also during the trial, she said that the fire was started by Tim, who At the time, his friend said he was fascinated by fire. A former nanny said that he had said at one point that he was going to burn down the family home. That was years earlier, and the nanny who said it hadn't seen him in years. And like a lot of his friends said, that he really hated his dad, and he really liked fire.
I mean, that still doesn't make sense, though. Because
the
dad wasn't living in the house, the mom was.
Right. And why was her robe burned if he's the one who set the fire?
Right.
Now, she also said her son was the one who did the poisoning because he prepared most of the meals. But Krysta prepares a lot of food for us.
I don't necessarily poison them.
Well, no, but if I gave you castor beans and said make ricin, I don't know that you'd know what to do.
I'd throw it in the trash. Because I don't know what that is. Don't make me do that.
I'm just saying, if he did it, how did he turn the castor beans into ricin? Because it isn't just a matter of...
Yeah, no, I wouldn't really know what to do in that situation.
Yeah.
No, so if you gave it to him, he wouldn't know what to do. He doesn't...
And it's not like you could Google it, because keep in mind we're talking about 1995, and
right.
That was before...
It wasn't Google.
So...
Google wasn't there.
And that's why she took the Alford plea, because her whole defense rested on her son did it. But I don't buy that. And that's the thing that makes me maddest at her, probably, is that she tried to blame her son.
Was she? Okay, I think I might... Hold on. I'm trying to process things, and something is happening in my brain right now. I'm thinking... In her brain, she might have not been thinking straight. But in her brain, probably at the moment, she was trying to make it seem, like her facts seem, like a good idea. So, what I'm trying to say, you said she told the police that he did it, right?
Yeah.
She told him to stay. She told him to stay there, and let the other one get out.
She didn't know her daughter had gotten out. She didn't know her daughter had escaped. She only found out when she got outside herself and saw her on the roof of the garage.
Right.
So, she had no idea.
Well, then again, her daughter, literally explained to the police that didn't the daughter, explain to the police that that her mom was there and would have caught her?
Yeah. I mean... When her mom saw her on the roof of the garage, she told her to jump down, and she did try to catch her, I guess, but missed, but daughter wasn't hurt.
Like I said, that's maybe the point she's trying to prove when she's telling them that her son started the fire. Like, it would make sense in her head, because if he started the fire, he would stay in there. He wouldn't have any room to walk out.
See,
in my head, it makes sense.
I guess, but they know she started the fire because of her robe and because of her hair. The only way you get that significant amount of singeing, after 2 haircuts, mind you,
right,
and the burns on her robe, is if you're there when the fire starts. So unless him helped her,
right? No, I'm just
why? If he helped her, why would he then call her on the intercom? Why wouldn't he just leave?
Right.
So, but he's not allowed to say he called her on the intercom. That's her story.
Right. So, here's my thing. I'm not saying she didn't do it. I totally agree that she did it. I'm just saying that I think I understand her method. Now, I wouldn't like to understand her method. It's not the first thing I like to do with people that I don't necessarily want to be in a situation with. But I'm saying, if I was in the same situation, which, let me mind you, I will never be in, I sincerely hope that I'm never in this situation. But if I was in her situation, and I was in her body, that's what my mind would be going through.
Well, it's that stinking thinking that I talked about. I think it's just the drink and how that processes through some people.
Right.
So that's the show.
That's the show. I made it. I didn't even go off as much as I went off about the guy and Dracula, so I guess I was doing pretty good.
So...
Oh, the bat puns.
There's no bats in this, so I can't do bat puns. That'd be batty.
Oh, Dad, you... The puns, they're back.
So it's time to say goodbyes. First of all, thanks to Bill Barrett, man who does our music. Thanks to Paige Elmore, who did our logo. Thank you, Paige.
We already gave a special shout out to Paige twice, too, in fact.
Thanks to Aaron Gnurk, our local promoter. Thanks, Aaron. Also, check out our website at familyplotpodcast.com. There's not a lot to do there right now. Laura just finished the bare bones of it, but it is there. And we'll be adding more functionality to it.
We're going to add a little bit of we're going to be putting a Krysta's Art Corner that she's going to be doing. She's going to be doing her art based on what her facts are about.
And you guys can figure that out
going forward. So I'll have the one from this week. It should be up by the time the podcast drops. And going forward, we're going to try to put art up before the podcast drops, and then you can guess what Krysta's Weird Facts are going to be for that week.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
That's what we're working towards.
Also, make sure you check out our Patreon page or buy me a coffee. Easy ways to donate to the show, and your donations help us more than you know.
Yep.
Do not donate if you have issues with money. Lord knows we lived in California with almost nothing, and before I got back together with Laura, she was living in California with nothing. And so we've been there, and we know how tight that is. Don't send us money if you don't have it. But if you do,
if you don't have it,
we appreciate it.
If you don't have it, let me just say this one thing. If you don't have the money at the moment, or when, as much as you guys are here to support us, everything you do is supporting us. Like, listening to our podcast, that's supporting us. Just keep doing it,
Absolutely. We would rather get you sharing the podcast with 5 people than even $5 from you. So
yes, if you are low on money and stuff like that, you want to send us something, just don't. Just stay in your own time, listen to us to calm yourself. Do not do extra for us. All we want from you is your listening and you supporting us. Thank you.
You can also check out our Facebook page, the Family Plot Podcast Facebook group, which is growing every week. So it's nice to see the new faces in there. You can check us out on Twitter. We're plot_family. Krysta is F_Crystalline, and Laura still isn't on Twitter, but she will be there eventually.
I'm trying, people. It's been a little hectic. I'm working on it. I got the website up, so that's something.
That is something.
Give me some props.
Now, you can also check out our Instagrams. I have one, BoogeymanKC. Krysta has one.
Family_Krysta or FamilyPodKrystaCat. Whichever one, just as soon as you see a purplish reddish dragon as the picture, that's me.
Also, if you go to my personal YouTube page, BoogeymanKC, the last 2 episodes are up there as YouTube videos, because Spreaker lets me do that. So if, for whatever reason, you would rather watch than listen, you can do that through my YouTube. Mind you, it's not a picture of us or anything, it's just a blank screen and you can hear our voice. It's nothing cool like that, but you can hear the show by watching via YouTube.
Yeah, also, my channel, Random Reactor. Now, I will be posting on there, but not as much as my other channel that has to do with toys and other things that I will be working with recently, because I've been working on some stuff that is gonna get me money sharing up, so I'm just gonna do some more on that channel than I do on Random Reactor.
So, And that just leaves us with this. Thanks as always for listening. We